Welcome back to JD Aquariums. Today we are here to build a shrimp tank for my blue cherry shrimp and my tiger antlers. And also we've also got some ram torn snails which I've been breeding. They're little hungry little fellas, as you can see. Got a few of them I put in this tank. So this is what we're going to be putting in the tank. Well, not all of it, just assortment of stuff. So there's a bit of hair grass here, some stem plants, some little ferns, a bit of mineral rock, some almond leaves there in the left hand corner which we'll come back around to. Some driftwood, but they're a bit too big. Another bit of driftwood with some java moss and java fern attached to it. And a few other assortments of plants in the little bucket of water at the back. And the heaters and stuff down on the side. The dragon rock I don't think I'll use. I was going to, but ended up didn't liking the look of it against the black soil. A few more assortment of plants. The fluvial substrate, the volcanic soil. A few more river pebbles and so on. And a 30 centimeter by 20 centimeter tank. You can get these from Kmart, quite cheap. They're only like 30 bucks. They're a good little tank for what I need, especially for the shrimp. I've put about 2 kilos of soil in there. I only want it about an inch and a half, 2 inches thick at the back, and just probably about an inch, half an inch at the front, so a little bit of a hill going towards the front, so a little bit of a slope. So I'm just flattening it out with this flattening tool. You can get these from eBay. They're quite cheap. You can get better ones, and obviously the more you spend, the better quality, and they won't bend as easy. This one's only a cheapish sort of one. I've bent it a few times and I've had to bend it back. But just be careful with your tools and they'll last as long as you look after them. I've also got some root tabs, root fertilizer capsules, which I should have broken apart and spread under the soil before I've actually put it in, but I forgot this time. I have a habit of doing it, so I will try to put them in later. Would have been handy if I remembered about now though. Unfortunately I didn't. So I'm just going to use a little sponge filter in here, because I'm going to end up having about 6 shrimp tank on this rack. And the cheapest way to run it is with the air pump and with the sponge filters. So I can run them all off the one pump instead of having 6 different filters in 6 tanks. And the shrimp love eating the sponge filter, so the shrimp kind of keep it clean for you as well. But obviously you still need to clean it. And I've got a little nano heater. These are set to 26 degrees, but I find that they always stay at about 24 to 24 and a half degrees. I'm trying to get it to stick, but because I've used this one before, the suction cap needs water to stick. It keeps falling off. I keep trying to attempt it, keep knocking the tank, and then I'll keep having to put the tank back into position. I do start off putting some dragonstone in here, but I end up taking it out because I don't like it, because I've got some sienna stone which I've got Anubis glued onto with super glue. Super glue is perfectly safe for in shrimp tanks and in your fish tanks. As you can see, like I said, the Anubis attached to the bit of rock. So much cheaper to do it yourself than buy them already attached. And sorry about the bad lighting. I only remembered halfway through, or as I was filling up the tank, that I could have put the light on to start off with. This is just a piece of driftwood which I had from another tank. It's got the java ferns attached to it with the glue, and then it's also got java moss attached around a few of the stems. And like I said, I took out the dragonstone because it didn't really match what I was going for. So I have to smooth it back out. So I've just got another little bit of Anubis, which I'll just put under the driftwood to try to make a bit of an arch. But I'll need to put another stone at the back to actually get the driftwood to stay into place. And it's just a bit of spider wood I've got there. I've also got some river pebbles, which I'll put in a bit. They've got the marina moss balls on it, which is a form of algae, but it's always self-contained, so you don't have to worry about it spreading around your tank. And they look quite nice, and the shrimp love them. And they're easy to grow, very slow growing, and you just got to attach them to the rock. Same again with the super glue. But I'll point them out when I put them into the tank. And there we go, that's finally stayed where I wanted it to stay. Just trying to figure out what I'm going to put in next. Yeah, and like I said, the river pebbles with the marina moss balls opened up and put onto it. Over time they will spread out over the whole rock, but that will take quite a while. Just keep repositioning the rock until I like the position. But now looking back at the footage, I'm thinking I should have moved it slightly different so the plant was facing at the back. But I was still happy with the end result. So the tank next to it, I'm trying to work out if I'm going to put yellow or red shrimp in it. I'm thinking more yellow, but I have got the red shrimp. But if you guys want to comment down below and let me know what you think would look better in it, I'm going to do the same sort of black substrate in the bottom. So maybe yellow might pop a bit more, but the red might also pop as well. And here I'm putting in the mineral stone, which will help the cherry shrimp molt their shells. And I've just got a bit of fern, water fern. I can't quite remember what the name is. For the next video I'll make sure I remember all the names and write them all down. But I threw out the little name tags before I could remember. I've also got some water lettuce, which will be floating on the top, as you saw at the beginning of the video with the blue shrimp hanging on top. The shrimp love it, and it's also good to remove all the nitrates out of the water from all the waste from the fish and shrimp. So I'm just trying to put the fern at the back. I spend way too much time with this one because I'm trying to get the root down underneath. But I should have just dug a hole first and put it in and covered it. But I keep messing around with it. Then I end up having to get in front of the camera and ruin your view. Don't worry, it'll be over in a second. You can just have a look at my t-shirt for a sec. But we'll be back to seeing the tank in a minute. Not a minute, probably more, 10 seconds, not even that. And then the plant wasn't even in the position I wanted it to, so I have to fix it up anyway. There we go. Then I'm just going to make a little field of hair grass. I'm going to put about 4 bits in there. It was just one bunch broken up into 4. But I'll put a couple in now and then I'll put the rest in a bit. And it's got a little bit more of the fern, just put in front of the filter, just make kind of hide it. But you don't want to hide the sponge filter too much because the shrimp tend to pretty much live on it. So that's why I put the sponge filters on the side, so I can see the shrimp from all angles. So I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to put in next. Oh yeah, that's right, the root tabs that I forgot to put in. So now I'm going to actually try to put them in, because my hands are wet. They're going to stick to the tongs and they're going to be hard to put in. Then I've got to make sure they're completely covered, because they'll float to the top, because I've got air in it. So once the capsules dissolve, they'll float up if they're not covered properly. Then the other one I just tuck under the sponge filter, but they keep sticking to the tongs, which is a little bit annoying. I thought I was nearly going to knock over everything for a minute, but it'd be worth it, because it will make the plants thrive a bit more. Because I don't put CO2 in my tanks, but all my plants do pretty well though. It's all just about lighting and making sure you've got enough nutrients in the water. And then once you've got enough plants and fish and a nice balance of substrate, you can do less water changes. But you need to make sure your tank's cycled up and running first, and keep up with all your testings. And I always like to put a bit of quick start into all my tanks when I first start them up. Even I use rainwater on my tanks, but I still like to use quick start and everything. It helps add that beneficial bacteria. And also, so just finishing off the little area of hairgrass. The shrimp love to hide into it, and they keep it all nice and clean. So I'll put the stem plants in at the back, but with the stem plants I've got a bit of plant weights on the bottom, so I'll just make a little bit of hole and put them in there and cover it up, and then they won't float to the top. And it helps keep them bunched together as well. And as they grow, I'll just trim them down and replant them. So hopefully within 2-3 weeks, this tank will be nicely overrun with plants. So I've got some baby tears, but I can't quite remember the name of the other two. And you can pick up all these plants quite cheap from your local pet store. Well, the stem plants anyway. The Anubis are normally a little bit more. But it's cheaper to buy it separate and then put it onto your driftwood and plants yourself, rocks yourself. So I've got a couple little bits of crypt, which I will put in just to add a little bit of different colour and different texture to the tank. Just a little bit of pearl weed attached to a little bit of to a pebble. That stuff grows like crazy, so I only ever start off with a little bit in each of my tank, and yeah, before you know it, it's everywhere. But the shrimp love it, and so do the endlers, and they breed like crazy in it, so reason why I got it in there. And I'm just putting a pebble onto an almond leaf, so it will stay sinking to the bottom. Another bit of Java fern, which I'll just wedge in between the rock and the driftwood, which will stay there nicely, it won't move. I really should have remembered to put the light on to start, but I'll do that with all my future videos. I'll put the lights on the tank first. I apologise, and yeah, the the light will be on very soon. Just going to put an almond leaf in there and some decorative pebbles, and I think we're pretty much done. Yeah. Just another little bit, another crypt. Should grow nicely. It's got a bit of a reddish tinge to the leaf of that one. It's a different colour. Another crypt. I'll try to hide the roots on this one, but it ends up pulling out anyway because the tongs are getting wet and the substrate keeps sticking to it, and there's no real weight to the volcanic substrate that I'm using, so it just lifts up every time I touch it. Now I'm just putting in an almond leaf. We'll release some good tannins into the water. The shrimp will love to eat it when it breaks down, and then once that one breaks down, I'll put another one in. And then I'll just put a few decorative stones around the place, and then we'll fill out with water. Just a few little river pebbles, not too many. Just add a little bit of more depth to the tank. Bring a bit more colour to the foreground. Yeah, I tend to like to bounce them on the rocks and just kind of let them fall where they want to fall. But then again, I'm not happy all the time where they fall. So yeah, I move them around and put them where you want. End of the day, as long as you're happy with the tank, because you'll be looking at it and admiring it. So now I've just got to fill it up with water. Sped this part up because I didn't think you wanted to watch an hour and a half of filling up with water, because I only realised towards the end that I had a bigger tube. Silly me. Next time, at least the tank will fill up quicker. But the slower you fill it up, the less you disturb the substrate, and the clearer the water will be, and the less time it will take to clear up. Yeah, it's just in a little bit I realised, oh wait, bigger tube, and it takes 2 seconds to fill up, and I'll put the light on as well, and it should all light up nicely and you can see it all. There we are. All filled up. It's a bit murky, so I'll leave it overnight, let it get up to temperature, because the rainwater in the tank's quite cold at this time of night. So we'll come back tomorrow and hopefully it'll be cleared up and we can put the shrimp in. And yep, that's the tank next to it, which hopefully yellow or red shrimp, and I'm going to do a beta sorority tank in that one as well. So just a little bit more of a look at it. Show you from all different angles as well. Come to around to the side where the sponge filter is. With the Java fern there. I really like the Java fern and the Anubis. really see much that way. Bit of a top angle, but the glare from the light can't really see too much. Kept thinking I was going to drop the camera as well. Lucky I didn't. Here's the shrimp we're going to put in. Bunch of blue shrimp, which I've bred myself. Got about 15 of them in there. About 4 buried ones. A couple of ram's horn snails. Also bred myself. And the endlers I've bred myself with the tiger ones. So hopefully these will also breed again quite successfully in the new tank. Only time will tell. There we are, all nice and cleared. Time to put the new shrimp into the new home. Just need to catch them and put them into the net nice and gently, and then we'll release them into the tank. So we'll put the shrimp and endlers in. Free fellas, welcome to your new home. Off you go. Zoom in a bit and have a bit of a closer look. They're already settling in quite nicely. So thank you for watching, guys. If you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I'm sorry about my fingers on the camera. A little bit closer look at all the shrimps and everything. I picked up the axolotl the other day. I've got him in a tank at the moment, in a 2-foot tank, which I need to redo. And his name's Herbert. So if you subscribe and stay tuned, we will be doing that tank very soon as well. Thank you for watching.